come many more times. We would love to have you all the time. So, any questions afterwards? You can just always contact us. But thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
2.1, approval of the agenda.
So motion to approve. Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. 3.1, everybody's had the minutes, had plenty of time to read over them. Any additions, corrections, or anything?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right, moving on. Non-action, 4.1, SW Snowden, attached are the deeds, that was, discussed last time. And the and the expenditures for, from Ms. Potts. And then Mark has an update. Okay.
Yes, sir. Just some information for the board to consider. Thanks to Mr. Stokes, he's reached out to Stockton Associates in Greenville. They are, should the board decide to surplus the building at some point, the board will also eventually could decide to surplus JCT. They are willing to do the appraisal for $4,000 per building. So that's just an estimate, but we don't have a firm contract. We haven't put out for bid, but that's the number they used. Mr. Stokes is working to see if there are other appraisers that might be interested should these events take place, but that's just so you have that financial knowledge about what it would cost per building to get them appraised for sale should the board go in that direction. The information there, the two deeds, our attorney, Tharrington Smith, have outlined a process depending on what the board decides to do next, but I can certainly update you with. And then it would be on the buyers to do title searches, et cetera, so to have that information if the board decides to do that with either building. In terms of the expenditures Ms. Potts put together, those are from July through January, so you can expect to essentially double that number approximately to maintain through the rest of the year. That's to maintain the alarm system, the insurance, electricity, water, sewer, et cetera. And that's pretty much where we are from the last meeting in terms of information that the board wanted to pursue.
I'm wondering, have we had a recent survey of that property?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Because I'm wondering about the acreage. We're talking about one of the deeds, 4 acres, and the other 3.37. I mean, are we really talking about 7 acres?
Correct. I think I'm quoting Sharon Lynn, the attorney who researched this, and she said that given the total current size of the school property is about 10.9 acres, she believes at some point the remaining 3.5 that's not covered by these deeds was deeded to the school board. Should this board make the decision to surplus the property, our notices of bids and property contracts would include language as the buyer's responsibility to survey the land, hire a closing attorney, prepare the deed, and pay all the closing costs.
We don't have any idea how that other 3 or so acres.
She hasn't been able to find any other piece of paperwork other than the 2 documents that she shared with us so far.
What is the board's, I think we all know what happens when we surplus a piece of property. That's been brought up in here multiple times. The first, in my opinion, the first thing we have to do is if we're going to surplus the properties, it's got to go to the county commissioners. And if you go to the county commissioners, first thing out of their mouth is, well, what do you want for the property? I would say that if I was going to go surplus a property, that's the law. You got to go to the county commissioners first. In order for us to know what a property's worth, you got to have an appraisal.
Based on Beaufort County tax values being more than what most properties are worth nowadays, we could potentially start there and look at that.
Well,
Yeah.
we're non-taxed, aren't we?
I believe so.
Yeah, we're non-taxed. So
Is there a tax value on record? Do you know?
I don't know.
I haven't pulled a tax card.
I hadn't either.
And another
Can I-
thing,
Yeah, go.
Okay, at the end of the year, I always get, a property value assessment from the tax collector's office, and the last one I got, it said 7 million for that piece of property.
For
I figured there
snow.
was something.
I'm a little surprised because
figured there
part of
was
that
Mhm.
land
Good
where
idea, good
there's
question.
not buildings stands in water almost all the time. You know where I'm talking about, Charles? there's the one area
It's right on the backside.
on the back
Yeah.
that is, it stands in water all the time. I would think that would be just about worthless, but
Hey, it's called waterfront now.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's
Well-
listed,
we could sell it as waterfront
There
property.
Is
you
it,
go.
is it the board's consensus to go ahead and direct them to put an RFP together for, because we're gonna have to deal with JCT too, to go ahead and get
an appraisal.
an appraisal on both property, to get an RFP for an appraisal for both properties?
I think that's a good idea.
I think you would have to.
I know that there was some discussion amongst the commissioners about who should be paying for the appraisal. So before we spend the money, they may vote tonight to pay it, anticipating it's coming to them, or not. They may say, well, if they want it appraised, they have to do it. But I know there were a few of them talking about, well, if you think you're gonna send it to us, we need to, the words were, we need to get it appraised.
Well, my
But
opinion,
I don't think they're gonna spend $7 million on it.
well, my opinion.
You know they're
Well,
not.
my opinion is we're 58,161 in, in debt to the school for in 6 months. We need to either look at whatever the board wants to do. Do we want to continue to keep it rolling? If you multiply that times 2, because electricity was 40 grand, that's for 6 months, so that anybody could do that easy math. You're at $100,000. That's a good savings back to this district. It's coming straight out of the local funds.
Can I ask you a question?
Good.
Being on the board, I guess, as long as I've been, there was some discussion a while back, I don't know exactly how far back, because of the way these deeds were written, and I'm definitely not a lawyer, he's sitting over there, that there was some question about whether the general statutes applies to this particular property, whether we have to, which we would still want to, but we're not obligated to offer this particular property to the commissioners first. On some of the ones around the county here, we are.
Are you basing
I thought-
that on the age? that it's
I'm
been
basing it,
notified of?
no, I'm just basing it on conversations that were had in the past when it came up with even prior
Sharon
superintendents.
says we got to offer to the county commissioner
Okay,
first.
that's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah,
So she
our
thinks
lawyer
we
says
do.
you got to offer to the county commissioner first.
Okay, that's
Terry,
gonna be a
I'm-
real quick no probably.
I'm wondering if they were basing that off the wording from the original deeds, that it was to be applied to a school. That was their intent. And I don't know, I'm just wondering.
Well, he says now that she's already said that it would have
You
to
got
go to them
it,
first.
Sharon Lynn says, according to the deeds, you got to send them back. It's got to go to, not the deeds, according to general statute, it's got to go to the county commissioners first.
And-
That's the
and
general statute, but I didn't know if there was any
Yeah, I agree with you,
regulations.
yeah.
And I
But
don't
you-
know how you might feel about this, but based on the correspondence that's gone back and forth between us as a board and the towns, the community, the mayor, out of respect for them wanting to know if our determination, once it's appraised, to surplus it, to see if the county commissioners want it, shouldn't we notify them that that's the next step we've
Oh, yeah.
taken?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should be as transparent as possible.
I
Yep,
agree.
I
Yep.
agree.
So, do y'all want, it's not gonna cost us anything to run an RFP for a, appraisal. And if the county decides they wanna pony up the money, we just
Do you
don't
need a
act on our RFP.
motion? Do you need a motion?
No, it's a we can just direct them, we don't need a motion to do that. Do y'all want, is the board's
Well-
consensus to run an RFP to get both of them appraised, JCT and,
Yeah.
I think you gotta start somewhere.
I
That's
think
as
we
good a
need to
place
start
as
And
any.
then- and then bring the RFP back when it's done, and then by then we'll know whatever the,
Cost of appraisal.
cost of appraisal's gonna be, and we're gonna know by then what the, county decides that they may or may not wanna do.
Sound like a good plan.
And that way, we're still moving forward, Charles, for, and I don't mind calling, Kurt and telling him that that's what we're doing. I talked to him at length after last meeting, so I'll give Kurt a call and just say, hey, this is where we're going. That way he'll,
You call him, and I'll back up, call him too.
all right, So I'll give him a buzz. I got a meeting first thing in the morning, but it'll be probably on the way to Raleigh late tomorrow afternoon. All right?
Jamie, what do you have the settings on down there? As far as the heat, are you able, I know not, well, maybe all schools now, but do you control the temperature, remotely, or does somebody have to drive down there and set it?
The main building up front, we can control it remotely. The gym, we can't control, and the pods and that, we do that manually. So we set the temperatures, up, a little higher than what we would normally do. And we make sure that the heat comes on, so nothing freezes,
Right,
and we make sure the AC comes on, so nothing doesn't split.
Okay. okay.
And we go down there enough, anyway, we're checking.
Check on things, okay. That seems like an awfully high electric bill.
All right.
But that was 6 months.
Oh, that's right, that's
Yeah,
right.
that was for 6 months.
I was thinking January.
Go ahead, Dan.
Before we move into an RFP for an appraisal, do we feel like it may be a good idea to get some estimates on having this property surveyed, just so we're certain about the acreage amount that is there? I guess it's possible, based on these deeds, that the coordinates listed in the deed may or may not encompass more or less property than what's listed here.
I would favor that. I don't want any surprises down the road.
Yeah.
Well, it would be on the, usually it's on the buyer's, on the purchaser's pocketbook to survey and the land out once the land's purchased.
My register of deeds left it.
Well, I'm just thinking of from an appraisal standpoint, I mean, if you're talking a 3-acre conflict between what may actually be on the ground versus what we have deeds to,
That's true.
I'm just
Use
throwing
3
that out
acres
there.
is a,
No,
3
I
acres
agree.
is a
No,
big acre.
I'm like Charles. We don't need to go into it blindsided.
You want an RFP on a survey at the same time?
Well, just kind of an idea what it would cost, and we can decide based on that, is it worthwhile doing
Yeah.
before we,
Yep. There we go. We can do RFP on a survey and an RFP on a,
Cost.
appraisal.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
What do you think? Charles?
That
Yeah,
might
I
be
think you need it.
expensive.
yeah, I'm sure it will be,
All right.
especially as long as it's been.
Everybody, not, anything else on Snowden before we move forward? Forward. All right. 4.2, science curriculum adoption, Dr. Parker.
Good evening. So we have several attachments to go through. The first one is our adoptions and rankings and resources attachment that has been updated since the last time we met. Style, which is a 6-8 curriculum company. In previous discussions, it was discussed that Style was one of the company that did not comply to the second compliance letter that the board sent out. After contacting me, they had alleged they had actually sent a compliance letter. After consulting with our tech department, it was in my junk mail. So they actually complied, and that's why you see Style now on the second page of this document. And if you see under the 6-8 grade span, it's still number 2.
Dr. Parker,
Yes.
sir, what was their reasoning for non-compliant the first time?
So they did comply. So there were 2 compliance letters. One was in November in which they complied, and I got that email. The second one sent out, I did not receive that email. And so we moved forward with the process. So they reached out. I explained to them that they failed to send in the second response. They sent an email with a Google Doc dated to December 2nd, which met the deadline. However, I could not search it, so I consulted the technology department. Mr. Gaskins came by and kindly looked in my my computer and found it. It was in my junk mail. And I could not search that far back.
Okay.
So,
So the non-compliant was the fact that they didn't provide information that you needed.
yes. So
That we
now,
needed.
So now they're back in because they actually
Okay.
did. So I just wanted to make you aware, just in all fairness, because they did send in the compliance letter, it just got lost in the junk email. So they're back in consideration. So are there any questions about that?
Did the team?
You're not.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. Did the team review this one as the other ones, or was it
Absolutely.
not considered because they did not respond with a compliance letter that you were aware of?
Absolutely, the team did consider it.
Yeah,
It was,
okay.
as a matter of fact, when we get to the second attachment, it actually tied with Accelerate Learning in the 6-8 grade span. But we had to disqualify it because at that particular time, we didn't think they didn't submit the compliance
But
letters
what you're
directed.
saying is technically they did. It was just in your spam folder.
Correct, yes.
And that wasn't late.
It wasn't late.
It just went to spam?
Yes.
Okay.
So it passed the muster of the rubric. It tied for first. So if you don't have any questions about the revised rankings, I want to move on to the scoring sheet.
Okay.
So this is how the teacher votes were tallied. So if you look on the left-hand side, those are the abbreviations for school. They're broke down into K-5, 6, 8, 9, 12. You can see the number of teachers who voted for each curriculum.
Which attachment are we on?
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
this is the second one.
Okay,
Science vote finals.
Yes,
is what it
that's
says.
Science vote final.
got it.
You're fine. So you can see in the K-5, Discovery, Accelerate Learning 152. So you can see that, for example, a school, you can see the tally votes for teachers for each curriculum, and then you see the winner in that toward the right-hand side where it tabulated into a school vote, and then schools were counted, and then we had overall winners. Okay? So if you look at the 6-8 grade span, you'll see that Style and Accelerate Learning are now a tie. Okay? So according to our process, we actually bring in, and this has happened before, we actually bring in a representative from each school. There will be 4 total representatives, and then we would re-examine the materials, and then they would vote out to try to break the tie.
Okay, good.
But I wanted to come to the board first for direction and to give you an insight to what will happen moving forward.
The only thing I question about that is that it's an even number.
What was that?
If you use an even number, you could be back at a tie again. You need an odd number.
You're right.
That's why we have 9 and
Well,
not 8.
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually served with a board that was 6, and that was hilarious at times. But anyway, well, you're right, and we have done that.
If you can add one person, I would
Well-
feel better that there won't be a tie again.
Well, I'll say this, the process is currently constructed relies on the expertise of our teachers. So in times past, the last time this happened was K-5 elementary math, and we had a tie. And after consideration, we spent half a day just re-looking at materials, going through the rubric again, having discussions. Like I said, the tie was broken. There's no guarantee. And right now, looking at the process that's currently constructed, there isn't a tiebreaker written into the process. Of course, the board has the ultimate say either way. So just making you aware of that.
We'll deal with it if it happens. I'm just throwing it out there.
No,
Even
you'd be
numbers
right.
don't work when you're voting.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? I had a couple of questions
Sorry.
on the voting totals.
Yes, sir.
Just to see what you thought your opinion was, because I don't know, I don't have one. I just thought, just something looked,
I'm listening.
yeah. So when you look at these, let's just break it to 2. You got Accelerate Learning and Discovery Education.
In the top third, yes.
Yeah, and I'm talking about with the lower grades.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm not gonna go there right now, but if I jump over to the pricing comparison,
Yes, sir.
there's a huge difference
Yes, sir.
between Accelerate and Discovery.
Okay.
With Discovery being way, way less money than what Accelerate is.
Yes,
So
sir.
why do you think, though, that we had, and I'm gonna just have to read them, Bath Elementary
Yes.
voted 10-0 for Discovery, not
Yes, sir.
Accelerate. Now, I know the whole total, when you totaled everything up,
Mhm.
Accelerate comes out ahead.
Yes, sir.
But why would you think that Bath would vote 10-0? Chakawinty Primary voted 11-10,
Mhm.
up to Accelerate only 1 more there.
Yes, sir.
And then when I look at JCT, another lower grade school,
Mm-hmm.
they voted 12-2 for Discovery.
Yes, sir.
Now, what flipped it was when you went to John Small and Eastern, because Eastern's got a lot of grades, a lot of teachers, classes.
Yes,
and
sir.
they voted 14-1 the other way. So the total did go to Accelerate. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think that we would have 2 or 3, and these are top-notch schools when I look at Bath and Chakawinity, and these are schools that are performing really well. Why do you think they would vote completely one way
Mhm.
and another school vote completely the other way? I mean, I'm just curious. I don't understand. Is this- I
What-
must be
what-
missing something.
No, actually, that's a very good question, Mr. Williams, and that is actually addressed a couple of attachments later.
Okay.
Actually,
All right.
when the board requested a narrative of how our teachers wanted to vote, I sent an email to all the principals to give a narrative, and every principal gave me what their teachers and what their rationale was
Okay.
for choosing the curriculum they wanted.
Okay, but you see why it would bring up a
Oh, yeah.
question.
Yes, sir.
When one school went 10-0, another school went 12-2, and another
Mhm.
school went 14-1 a different way.
Yes, sir.
Well, and then Mr. Williams also, some of the pricing is just
Yeah.
a large span between the pricing. I mean, I know that we have to honor, I feel like, what the teachers feel like they want to teach.
Yes, sir.
That would be easier for them, but, I mean, aren't we taking into the pricing too? I mean, if
Yeah,
it's,
I think we're getting there, as we go down the sheets.
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
we'll
I
go
Yes, sir.
down and look. Yeah,
Before we
we
get
can
too
look-
far, I do have a question on
Go
the
ahead.
voting totals though.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Whittington's here, maybe she can answer. I was just looking at CPS where we have 21 voters, I guess.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious where you guys done something different there, where most, like Bath is 0 to 10, CPS was 11 to 10.
So my teacher, Lou here, she followed everything that you guys do, so she's pulled up that grade level.
Okay.
She reads these before, we come to the meeting, but anyway, so she pulled that up, and I was looking at it too, because, I mean, I'll just be honest, all of our grade levels, they rather have STEM scopes, which is accelerate
Mhm.
learning, than discovery. Third grade was the only grade that wanted discovery. So all those votes for discovery, that's solely out of third grade.
Okay.
But
Okay.
then John Cotton Taylor, they're only second and third grade,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they have more for discovery too. So I'm wondering, the high, like the third grade.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Third grade wanted that one versus, that makes
I mean,
sense. They
yeah,
do
I understand.
Within the K-5.
Yeah, thank you. I was just curious.
But
And
Bath was.
that's
10
exactly
to-
why I asked. Yeah, it didn't look the same.
And
so it looks
Bath
a little
was
odd.
10-0 for
Yeah.
discovery. So none of them wanted accelerate learning. It was, I don't know, it's very confusing.
Thank you.
And like not because of how you've done it, but how to decide when there's such, as Terry said, there's such a disparity between some of them. And of course, when you look at Accelerate, it is almost twice the price.
Yeah.
Could I-
And that has to play into
Nice.
our decision.
could I ask Ms. Whittington, not to put you on the spot, but what do you think? What do you think? What would be the reason that Bath would overwhelmingly? Is it something that, have they used that before? I mean, I'm not familiar. Have they?
We've never used that before. I can't speak for Bath, but I know all of our grade levels implemented this science into their daily teaching. And they really wanted to get their hands in it. I mean, the boxes were unpacked. They used the materials. And I call it STEM scopes.
Yes, yes, yes.
That has a lot more hands-on, engaging, experiments, activities that the kids can do. And so that's the majority of why our teachers wanted that. Third grade, the reason they wanted the other, they just said there was so much stuff because they are hands-on projects, and so there's lots of materials and equipment that comes with that curriculum, and it was just a lot of stuff to store in their classrooms, was pretty much the only reason why. The other one was more streamlined and simplified.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I can't speak for that.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not sure about them, but, it's just very engaging. That's why we like
I'm gonna,
and we also, each grade level, had a narrative of why they like that I shared
Did.
with other partners.
Yeah.
So you should have that and go more in depth.
Can I
Thank
ask
you for that
another
narrative as
question?
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have another question, Dr.
Certainly.
Parker. During their process,
Yes.
were they made aware of the pricing also?
No.
Or you kept that, so it would only be about the curriculum?
Correct.
I got,
That may or may not have made a difference.
so, JCT went the other way.
Yeah.
Is it because y'all are lower, you think, the grades, sound like Miss?
I think.
There, she's right behind you.
Just majority, because they're second and third grade.
Yeah,
And
what do you
ours
think?
is like the other one too, so there must be something about the second and third grade bands that they like that other curriculum better.
So our teachers, they actually taught a lesson from both
Mm.
So it sounds like we have really hands-on and more online.
Yes, sir.
So that's two very different styles of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see the same comparisons in the other grade spans as well.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions on that sheet before we go forward to another sheet?
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
So the next one is the rubric. So the board requests the rubric, and just to give you, there are two gateways. The first is alignment, and that's the second page. And basically, that's a series of questions where our teacher leaders got together and determined whether or not the curriculum aligned with the North Carolina Essential Standards. Okay. And there's pretty much a point system, and it was tallied, and there's a scoring sheet a few pages in. It says Gateway 1 point summary. And if it did not pass the first gateway, there was no reason to go to the second gateway because we understood the importance of alignment. The second thing is Gateway 2, and that is the quality of instructional supports. So this is another series of questions that our teacher leaders went through. And so this is the rubric that was used after vendor presentations. It's the rubric that was used, considered when our teachers voted at the school level. It would be the rubric that will be used when we bring in our teacher representatives to look at the 6-8 curriculum. So this has pretty much been kind of the bedrock, kind of like the tool we use to differentiate between one curriculum and another. So any questions about that? Okay.
Thank you.
The next one is a very telling one. So this long document is our rankings explanation. And so what you get here are per school and per grade level, all of our teacher opinions and commentary about their experience and opinions about the curriculums that we'll put before them for review. And so what I tried to do is keep in per rankings, but also put underneath it the school and the quotes and their thoughts. Any thoughts about that?
Steve?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Parker, I'd like to thank you for doing that because this
Yeah.
is really valuable information in evaluating these curricula.
Yes,
and
sir.
why our teachers like one better than another. So I think this is really good input and
I
something
agree.
I suggest we do for all curricula in the future.
Yeah.
Sounds
I was
good.
going to say the same thing. Thank you, Dr. Parker. Dr. Parker, this is very helpful for
I have to
us
think
to understand how the process,
Yes.
so that we can see it, how it works, and what the feedback was. And-
Yeah. I have to thank our principals. They braved Snowmageddon to get us this material, so I'm appreciative.
Thank you all very much.
So after that, if we don't have any questions about the explanations and the narrative, we get on to pricing. So the first sheet is basically all of the quotes, but at the top, we decided to give you a pricing comparison. So you can look at it apples to apples as best we could, because not every company gives the same contract terms. It's usually 3-year, 5-year, but you'll see some 1-year options as well. Some options are split into print, digital, and et cetera. So that's the first link. And then for the grade spans, you'll see in ranking the actual price quote, so you can dig into the details about what you're actually purchasing. Okay?
Was this
Dr.
based on
Yes.
the purchase of the curriculum or the student enrollment?
Actually, it's a little bit of both. So when we send out requests for purchasing, we give them the number of
numbers.
teachers, the number of
Okay.
students per grade level, the number of sections, so they're able to count, for instance, like lab kits, teacher resources, things of that nature. Yes, so we give them student data.
I do have some concerns about, did they want the workbooks? Because we already have some workbooks sitting in storage that
Well-
they didn't use with the last curriculum we bought.
Well, you know, when you deal with vendors and you give them a quote, they're gonna give you the entire thing. So, if the board chooses to go in a direction, I imagine we can work with the vendor to adjust the quote accordingly based on materials that we already have, so we don't have any redundant resources.
Yeah, I sure don't want to think that even if it's just one school, that they've got them all boxed up in a storage room because they don't intend to use them. That's a huge That's a huge expense to us as a board, to the taxpayer, to the commissioners, to the state. I know this all comes up from state monies, textbook money, right? I want to make sure, this really worries me. I have stressed about this all day, haven't I, Christie?
So I'm gonna, so there's not a discovery education for the 6-8, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, just making sure that I'm
And that's because of the rubric. So
Right.
if you go back to the scoring, Carolina Biological, I think, was the third option at the 6-8, and that didn't grade out according to the teachers.
So, in my simplistic mind, if you're doing accelerated learning K through 5, then you gotta switch to another plan on 6-8. I don't know, I may be thinking outside the box, I don't know. But, and I'm not a science teacher, I've not taught that. But, so, if you do the 3-year for accelerated learning, it's 268, just call it 270,000. And then that's another 120 for the 6-8, is that right?
Yeah, so what we tried to do is split it up among grade spans, because previously, Accelerate they won the K-8 spectrum. So what we tried to do is split it. If that top number in this comparison sheet, above the first divider is our K-5, then in the middle is our 6-8. So if you look, and there's the 5-year, there's the 5-year phased, and there's the 3-year phased.
So
Yes,
at the
sir.
end of 3 years,
Yes, sir.
do they like cut it off? Do you continue to use the materials? What, you know,
So,
just asking because a lot
digital-
of this is digital now.
correct. So the digital pieces, yes, you wouldn't have access to. The physical pieces that you purchase, you keep. But if you notice, a lot of the things that are more expensive have more physical pieces. When you get the ones that are more hands-on, you get these large kits that go to each teacher, and that tends to eat up a lot of money.
So
It's a
at
huge
the end of the term,
Yes, sir.
and because I deal with SLAs a lot at work, do they like give you a carrot to re-enroll? Like if we did the 3-year to keep going, do they, you know, I don't want to get us to the 3-year mark or a 5-year mark, and then we got to re-up, we got to spend another $400,000, and we already got, you see what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So we'll probably looking at a renewal. So as you know, the board several times a year considers a renewal option. So with existing tools that we already have, we'll come before you. We'll give you the 1-page
Yep. Renewal.
renewal piece. So you'll be looking at a renewal option, which I can't sit here and quote exactly what a renewal option would be, but it will be less than the physical pieces. So it will probably less than the total that you see here, because you'll probably just be renewing the digital pieces.
So I did some quick, simple math, and I think me and Terry, we're scratching math.
Just wait.
I did 390
You too?
for the K through 8. So I just I did 270 and 120, and then and I'm doing the 3-year term, and then I did 211 for the other for the 912. Is that
Yes, sir.
everybody
Yes, sir, I'm
following
looking-
me? Everybody following you?
I'm
where
on the
we're at?
comparison sheet too.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm at 601.
Yes, sir.
Does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
Plus or minus?
Right.
Everybody up to the moment?
It's
That's a lot of
And
money.
and I'm building my case
That's a lot of money.
That's
to my person that we always
We'll
look
have
to,
that come.
and I'm going to the final sheet, PRC 131. She knew I was probably
Yes, sir.
going there. Am I right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
At the top of that sheet, 448. Let's just call it $448,500. Is that right? We're 20 cent off. We're 20 cent off. Everybody up with me to that point?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And that is the fund balance in the state fund for that textbook fund.
So that is a figure as of today. That is the amount of money you have available to spend as of today.
All right.
What changes?
Personally, I am not anticipating using anything else out of this other than if we should have, last minute on textbook or something. I even put out here on the bottom of that spreadsheet, I put the amount of money that we've already spent,
Right, I saw it.
because your total budget was 500-some thousand. And then we have a few outstanding encumbrances, which is about 5,700.
They were small.
Hardships.
Yeah, they were small.
I call that nickel and dime, $110,000 is nickel and dime. So, once that's paid, and it's already taken into account, you have $448,000 to spend.
Right. So my question was, because what he had is my figures too, I was following
Yes,
along.
sir.
But
Yeah.
you've already been dropped all your funds for PRC 131,
Mhm.
right?
So this,
So how do you plan on paying a $600,000 curriculum with $448,000?
With $152,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
well,
Well, you can
52.
pay, you
Yeah.
can do it over
52.
time, but
So
you,
let-
if
let
you
this
read
be
it, it's
how
got
I
to be
figure.
at least 50% upfront.
All right,
this,
that,
you could do this, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, it would be extremely tight. By the time you get to that second year, you're gonna have to figure out what you won't be paying out of this. So if you look at what you did buy, in that $139,000, you bought Lexia, which is $124,000. So we already bought that and paid for that, okay? So if you do this with a 3-year plan, McGraw-Hill, if you go with 3 years, that $210,000, $211,000, that has to be paid for upfront. That's not a split payment.
Mhm.
You gotta pay for that upfront.
all right, so,
Then on the accelerated learning, you could do half, okay? So by the time you do that, that'll leave you at the end of this fiscal year,
Mhm.
if you do it now, $42,000.
You know what the worst thing you can do in business is spend money you don't have.
Spend money you don't have, yes, sir.
And can I put this out there? We hadn't even started on social studies curriculum
Right.
yet, people.
Well, and I'll tell you something else we need to consider. If you look at these terms on the 3-year plan, it's 3 years phased, 2 years full access, and 1 year digital only. So you're not getting full access that 3rd year. So you're really taking a hit that 3rd year for what you're paying.
And when are we gonna have more funds available, for social
So let
studies?
me continue for you then. So if you go this route, then you would end up with $42,000 at the end of this fiscal year. I estimate that your textbook allotment for fiscal year 27 will be $197,000. That's based on your ADM. So that means you will kick off the year with $239,000, and you still need to make a payment for that last half of accelerated reader. So that would be $194,000 coming out of that. It will leave you with $45,000. So you do not have the money for social studies, nor would you have the money to pay your Lexia out of this. So you just,
So
I think you need to put a pencil to it and consider.
I
changes.
think you
Very
just
sharp
put the pencil to it.
I did,
Um,
but I don't get to vote. You
trying
do.
to-
but that's why you get paid to put the pencil to it to tell us the truth.
May I?
Yeah, yes.
So if the board would like, what I can prepare with the assistance of Dr. Parker and Ms. Potts, we can bring you a list of every program that we have, their renewal cycle, and how much money, so you'll know next year, for example, because we don't only buy curriculum materials out of this particular fund. We also use federal monies, we also use other state monies. Sometimes they're restricted, you can only buy, for example, K-5, but we could show you where, in the future, what we anticipate the cost would be, what funding source would we provided, so you could kind of see when Ms. Potts says you only have $45,000 left to spend out of this money, so how are we gonna pay for the rest? Well, here are the other choices. But what I can tell you, eventually, the answer is going to be, with our declining enrollment, declining funding from sources, is at some point, you'll be asked, we're gonna have to eliminate either this program or whatever we're paying. We might be paying for individuals, for example, out of federal funds. Instead of paying for individuals, we're gonna pay for programs, or, eventually, those things, we're going to run out of money to continue. But I can show you all of that, so you,
I would appreciate that.
and that way you at least know kind of what cycle we're on for other materials that we'll have to be on the hook for.
Because we've been dipping into our low wealth money
Right.
to pay for people.
Yes, that's correct.
And I don't anticipate we're going to get more money from state or federal or even local.
And then it's one of those good news, bad news situations. Our economic status in Beaufort County has actually increased.
Yeah.
And we will certainly get a decrease in what is considered low wealth funds
Yeah,
for the
'cause
school
we're
system.
we're tier 2 now.
That is correct.
Isn't that just the craziest thing?
So-
The better we get, the less money we get.
Yeah.
And you know, our staff has busted their butts on Lexia, for years, and we've seen the benefits of it in Lexia. You know, we don't wanna cut I don't wanna cut off one hand to feed the other hand. Does that make sense?
No, but I agree with Terry. I don't wanna spend money we don't have. and
You
nor do
don't
I-
want, you don't wanna spend money that the woman's sitting.
Anticipating you're gonna have it, and then what happens if you don't?
My
You're
simple
under a
mystic math is-
contract with this company. I am not in any way, I wanna say this very clearly, I am not in any way dismissing the work that went into this with our curriculum teams and Dr. Parker and his team.
Right, absolutely.
I'm just really concerned about us spending money we may not have down the road, but we've entered this contract and we gotta pay it. I don't want us to say, well, science is so really important, so we're gonna do away with Lexia. Well,
No.
I
no.
don't think y'all want us to do that either, do you? So this is a really hard decision. I'm glad it's not an action item tonight because I think the information that you all will come up with will
And we
be
c-
very important.
And it's easy to slow roll this because we're teaching science right now off of what they're putting together. But at $152,500 deficit, the way my simplistic math was, and we're gonna have to look at year 2, cutting the other programs that we're already doing. You know, my thoughts are let Mark and the team go back and look at the funding sources complete and whole.
I agree.
Well, and think about the fact that even in a 3-year program, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, you're fine.
In a
I'm used to
3-year
it.
program, I talked to Christy a long time today and took up
I
her
can tell
day.
you're worked up. Go for
Yeah.
it.
He's not my husband, but he sounds like him.
What's for dinner?
You got to debunk puzzle now.
He's at a commissioner meeting, so you just get a pot pie.
Maybe sell Snowden, get the money.
The 1 year is under discovery, which came in about almost 50-50, but not quite. That 47,000 looks real attractive compared to the other pot of money. And I worry that in the 3-year program, much like Bridges that we bought and spent a lot of money for, and it's sitting in boxes, not being used. If we're obligated for, it's a done deal, we're not considering the 5-year, but even at the 3-year, what happens if after year 1 and they've done it and the scores haven't ticked up one bit? Now, I realize there's a learning curve and it would probably take a couple of years. So, okay, what happens at
Well,
the end of year 2?
They're always going to tell you that the implementation of any curriculum is usually a 3 to 5 year process.
Exactly, that's why they want
So
us to do it.
at the end of, but I mean, I also think research says that if you start something and you only give it a year, that you're not going to get a really accurate.
And I agree with that, but I also know we've got some of the best teachers in the state of North Carolina, and I bet a lot of them know by the end of year 1, this is a lot more trouble than the results I'm seeing back.
We went through one curriculum, it didn't take them very long to figure that out, did it?
Exactly.
Daniel's ready.
Now,
I got a question. Talk about a simple mind, and please, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but our science scores, the end of this first semester, were up pretty substantially from previous years, is
So
that correct?
for this first semester, yes, for biology, they are substantially higher than they were in past years. But if you remember going back to last spring, because of the renorming of the science test statewide, science scores in 5th and 8th grade in biology kind of went down. And so everybody's kind of building their way back up.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point is, you know, I'm not against a curriculum, we obviously need it, but that's a testament to the hard work of our educators that we have seen the standard, we've taken that in, and on the fly, they're doing a great job making adjustments to get us to a better place. So
Much
I
like
commend
social studies,
you for that. Yeah, a lot like social studies.
Donald?
I just want to say that I hear what everybody's saying tonight, and I agree with Terry that we shouldn't go into curriculums where we don't have the money, but we're still lacking in our social studies program that we hadn't had in about, an approved program that we hadn't had in about 5 years. So I just want to make sure we don't forget about that program.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up.
For the
We're
lack
gonna-
of,
Be able to
thank you
afford
for the lack of
anything.
money, I know.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna be
know.
in the same situation no matter which way it is.
Right.
But what I'm saying is we should consider all of that now and
Oh,
not
yeah.
just worry about one thing.
Oh, yeah, if you do a science, she just told you were gonna be at, $45,000 at the end of year 2, leftover money. You're not gonna find a curriculum for $45,000.
That's right, yeah.
But
That's
let's,
what I'm saying.
Because isn't social studies 3rd through 12th? What grade levels does social studies study?
The standards go kindergarten through 12th grade.
Well,
do.
you know what? I think
They
it was
do.
Jennifer that told me it is kindergarten.
Mhm.
But they're not tested on it
No.
until 3rd.
No, in the olden
Still
days,
gotta
we
teach
used to
it
do
some.
end of course tests in U.S. history and civics, but no longer.
Yeah,
They're not
it's-
testing on it at all,
Right.
actually.
Yeah,
There's-
it's,
there are
the
tests.
only
It
course that's
changes.
tested is science
Right.
on this curriculum adopted.
Right.
Yeah,
You got it, Jada?
let me suggest, same thing, that, science is a tested curriculum, and therefore, we probably ought to give it a little more weight. And also with social studies, there's some free curricula out there, including one that was mentioned to this board before. So we've probably got some other options there. But, you know, I think we need to have a science curriculum because it's a tested subject.
I agree with you,
Sure.
Steve.
well, let's go
Well,
back.
let's
Let's go back to what
Mark-
Mr.
let's-
Doan suggested, put some, figures together and come back to us.
Yeah, I'm not saying we shouldn't have one. I'm saying we need to be careful of spending money we might not have.
Yeah, my suggestion was maybe go with one of the free ones on social studies.
Yeah, but we gotta make sure we hit the standards too, and that hadn't even been looked at.
Well, it's not a tested subject, so it's not quite as important as far as the standards there.
Well, let's figure out how to pay for
Our
this, and then
teachers have
we'll
gotta
do that.
teach
We'll
by
look
the
at it.
standards because
Okay.
they're licensed to teach by the standards.
Yeah, okay.
That's their license.
What
Not
I'm
mine.
what I'm suggesting is it's not as important.
Right.
If it's generally in that area, and that's our determination whether it is or not, according to the attorneys at the General Assembly, if it's close enough, then, you know, maybe we can do some supplemental materials to bridge some of those things. We can probably find a way to make it work. But my priority right now is on the science.
Yeah, let's go,
Right.
we
That's fine.
gave you
Let's-
some direction,
let's
let's
do it.
roll.
Okay.
All right, everybody good?
Yep, all right. Please tell
All
me.
right, action item.
So this is the second read of the School Board Association Fall 2025 Policy Updates.
Ooh, that was a bunch.
There was a lot of them, we've had them for a long time. So I'm gonna do like I did before. They're in the order, and we've had them for a while. And I'm gonna call the policy out, and we're gonna go by policy right quick. And you better speak up if you got something that you want to add or direct or redo or look at as we walk down them, slowly and surely. That way we can, but I don't want to go one and then jump back up to another. So we're going to call it like the auctioneer calls it. Everybody good? 1,600.
Good.
I'm going to start with Donna. You good?
Yes, sir.
Carolyn? Everybody?
I'm good.
All right. Everyone getting a consensus? We can move from 1,600?
Yeah,
TW,
I've
you still got Stacy on the phone?
Yeah, she's over there.
Yeah, I've reviewed all of these, and I don't see any problem with any
Right.
of them.
Okay,
That's where I
if
feel.
anybody don't have any problem with them,
We don't have to go through each
I was
one.
gonna
I'm
say
good
that
with
too,
them.
I didn't see.
well, all right, I just wanted to make, because last time people always
Steve.
told me I rushed them
You
through
okay?
it, but we were walking them
Okay.
through
I
it
do
as
have a
slow.
question on one of them,
What, you go.
and I'm not, pushing anything one way or the other, I'm just
Which
questioning.
policy? So we get there.
2127.
2127, all right, everybody there?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we need to play with this. And my reasoning here is we're talking about trademarks in the actual policy.
Mm-hmm.
Would we be talking about trademarks or service marks as far as a school?
I sat through this.
And the other thing is, do we even have, well, the other item is, with a service mark or a trademark, it makes a difference whether they're registered or not. Do we have registered trademarks or service marks in this system?
This system, I don't think ours is registered, but the
Well, this doesn't say
BCS
registered.
logo is the BCS logo, and it was paid for and been used, so.
And then the other thing is, if it's registered, what agency is it registered with? And these things, from my reading, I'm no expert on it, Steve might be more than me, but these things make a difference, and I know enough to know that.
But they're not registered.
Well, I sat through this policy, at the School Board Association meeting in Greensboro. And they had case after case after case where school board people and school board members used even in your description line item, you have school board member. TW Allen School Board, or you have the BCS logo, or you have things, and people would, then there's a post that says, the table was upside down and somebody got upset about it and they sued the school district because that person made the post, and the way the courts ruled it is they had the logo and they had Beaufort County School Board as their title. And the people won. And it's multiple cases across the country. In that meeting, there was a packed house. I think they had to have standing room only in there, because they gave different case studies of what happened and why the judges ruled in the manner that they did. It was very interesting and very, very enlightening to know what you should and should not put on your social media accounts, and what people were suing over what was put on social media. It's very, like, there was one instance where there was a child that supposedly got disciplined but didn't get disciplined and was shared on their page. The district got sued because, and the people got like $500,000. It was crazy amount of money that was done, and they had the logo, and they had John Doe School Board member as their thing, and that's how it's done, and that's what these people, and I hate to say it, they even said it. There's people that troll social media accounts just to find something out of the way, and there's a lawyer that'll pick it up, and then there's a lawsuit, and that's why all this stuff is in here, and they explained it very clearly. Now, of course, Steve knows the law better than I do, but that's exactly what they went through in that whole class that day.
TW, can I ask a question? Yeah. I have no idea what it would cost, but can we entertain the cost of trademarking our logo so that protects us? If it's not registered, then anybody in this room can use that logo anytime they want to because it's not registered. Should they? No. Will they? If they want to, they will. And I think
along your line, and I agree.
It could be a bad reflection on us.
There's the registered trademarks or service marks, and then there's the common law, and I'd need to know more about
I do too.
that before I can really decide right now.
Because anybody that's not representing Beaufort County Schools, it doesn't even have to be the school board.
Yeah.
They're not representing the schools, but they use that logo because we have no protection other than this policy. It just worries
Why don't
me.
we pull this policy and
let's do
then
that.
we'll move forward with the
I just don't know enough.
I think maybe if we're going to review it, it should say board members and/or candidates filed to run for Board of Education. I think that's maybe something you need to look at. However, I tend to disagree. I mean, I'm all for registering these trademarks, but these trademarks are somewhat the property of Beaufort County Schools, I believe. I mean, I don't know about you, but if, you're a small business owner, you don't necessarily want everybody running around with your business logo on the side of your van, so you get a trademark. But in this case, this is a board policy. I don't see why we can't write this policy and enforce this policy from a board standpoint. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see any reason to overcomplicate this.
I agree,
Right.
and you know,
I mean,
But what a board member is liable are these policies. I'm talking about the public. There is nothing that says the
No,
public can't do
we
that.
can't, and this doesn't state public. I
this
agree
is,
with that.
this is board member, this is not,
I know, I'm just saying, I want to entertain, what would it cost to register it,
okay,
trademark?
that's just outside of this policy.
Okay.
But we wouldn't even need this.
Yeah, you would,
Well, if you're
Because
gonna apply it to
of-
board members, yeah. but-
because of technology use and social
Right.
media.
Right, I
Yep.
got you.
Well, what if we have someone that says, well, I've got the same trademark and I don't, and you can't do that? What if that happens? In other words, somebody wants to sue you for trying to take what they think is their trademark.
That's what I'm concerned about, a potential court time. And I
Well, then-
wouldn't take that out of the equation.
Okay, but then for the sake of moving on, let's pull that policy. We've got 20 more here that we can approve, and let's move on. And then we'll go back to it, and y'all can play with it whenever
got
you
it.
want to.
Was
All
there
right.
any other policy though?
Are there anybody else have any more
Steve said
policy
everything's
concerns?
okay. I don't know
I
about
think that was
Charlie.
it.
You're good?
Yep.
We're
You good?
good.
Everybody good?
Yep.
All right, I move we pull 21, 27, and approve the rest of them.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Look at that,
All
how
right.
easy it was.
5.2 Legislative Committee nominees, I got sent that by board chair. It's gotta do 2 in-persons, 1 virtual.
TW, I'd like to make a motion, I nominate you. I think it's important, if you're able to, that this be the person that represents the school board, and if not you, then Ms. Booth.
I
Ms.
I
Booth has done
nominate
it before,
Steve
too.
because of his background.
You're not interested, I nominate TW.
I'm not,
How many do we have?
One.
You get
Oh,
one.
Okay, well.
You get one.
yeah, I don't have time.
You get one to go.
I don't even.
Or how about this? How about if the board wants me to, if it wants me to go, I can go and if something happens and I fall off the earth and I can't, we got hurricanes on the 20th
could
and
be
the
an
14th,
alternate.
Steve, go.
Steve could be an alternate, yeah.
That work?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so we just
Fine
need
with
that
that.
in a motion. It's gotta be it says it's gotta be in a motion in the open session.
Okay, well, I
Move
made
that
the
we
motion.
nominate
motion
TW
already.
and with Steve as an alternate.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Sounds
There we
like a
go.
I
plan.
would like Terry to be the alternate
Yeah,
since he's the
thank you.
vice chair.
Thank you, Carolyn, for that.
I know Terry appreciates that.
Yeah, I said thank you. I'm good with Steve.
Field trip, Mark Doon.
Yes, sir. So, at the board's pleasure, we would like to request permission for the following field trips. Washington High School State Championships later this week, 2 male adults, 8 male students, 1 female adult, 8 female students. Southside Wrestling Regionals at American Leadership Academy in Kernersville, 2 male adults, 5 male students. Southside Boys and Girls Track at NC State, 3 male adults, 16 male students, 2 female adults, 16 male students. Washington High School Wrestling Regionals, Morehead High School, 3 male adults, 15 male students. Washington High School Wrestling State Championship, 3 male adults, 15 male students. And Northside High School CTE, along with early college, I believe, FBLA, 2 male adults, 35 male students, 6 female adults, 69 female students.
Motion to approve, and good luck to all of these
Second.
students.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Terry.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statutes 143-318, A1, A3, and A6 to present disclosure of confidential personnel information under General Statutes 115C319, 115C321, and to consult with the board's attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Before we go there, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I want to back up a little bit about the policy 2127. This is just food for thought for the board. So we were considering a cell phone use policy and having 2 different versions of a policy. We talk about our students being creative. As creative as we as a board and adults think we can get with 2127, our students are a whole lot more creative when it comes to policy. So I just want to caution us to how creative we get when it comes to policy moving
Yep.
forward.
Agreed.
Move to approve, closed
I
session.
need a second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Christie.